I wanted to bring you guys one of the very niche self-improvement habits that I think doesn't get talked about a lot. Not cold showers, not meditation, not semen retention, not fasting, not lifting weights. You all know these things, and you should hopefully be practicing them, or you at least have them in a tool in your toolbox. But for me, I love talking to myself, man. And before you think I'm weird, before you think it's strange, there's a terrible cliche about it. Oh, if you self-profess yourself to talk to yourself, then you're obviously insane and you're obviously strange. But I think there could be no better use of your time than than vocalizing to yourself maybe a thought or an idea, or also practicing social context. Now I know that last one might sound really far out, but I like to think of it as practicing who you want to be, right? Practicing who you want to be. Like we practice many other different things. If you want to get better at sport or better at weightlifting or better at writing, reading, or any kind of skill. So socializing is a skill. It takes a great degree of skill to be able to navigate the social climate, the social terrain, and talking to yourself and making up pretend scenarios is things that I find myself doing quite maybe more often than I like to share. And I find it really, really valuable because you have your body has a reference point for how to behave in those social contexts. Because everything is a habit. Everything is a habit. Your personality is a habit. Your opinions are a habit. The way you speak is a habit, right? And you create habits in order to save energy, right? So you don't even think about tying your shoes on, in the morning. Your body just does it. It's ingrained into your nervous system. So you don't have to waste a lot of cognitive energy on tying your shoes. You just do it. Same thing for socializing. Same thing for interacting with new people. You kind of have a script, like an inbuilt script in your mind about how you're going to do this. So you meet a new person, and you say, "Oh, hello, my name's Joseph. What do you do? How do you know such and such?" You kind of go on autopilot because you're scared about maybe being spontaneous, or you're scared about how you're going to be perceived. People always have, how am I going to be perceived to other people? How do I become a safe option? That's typically how you want to come across when you're meeting somebody new. Safe, neutral, generally pleasant. Maybe you can extend to that, but never, oh, he's weird or he's outlandish or that's not how I would introduce myself. So I really enjoy creating social scenarios and kind of talking my way through them. Let's do a little example. Let's say, and again, this is all predicated on how you want to be perceived. If you want to be perceived as being, let's say, funny, you're very humorous. You might literally, again, create a scenario where you're banking on somebody saying something. You can add a little bit of humor. You know, I'm just thinking of a stupid one I did yesterday where I met a guy who was gonna travel to Canada from the UK, and I met him and I was like, we got talking first, but I'd already said I was like, oh, this guy's from Canada. What's wrong with the UK? Is it not cold enough? And I know that's such a trash and very cliche thing to say, but it's how you say it as well, right? Your tone and your body language is very, very important in these things. Many people think they can just say shit, just say a funny joke, but it's how you say it, how you come across. I've noticed through many years of kind of like training and teaching and coaching is that what I say is really, well, it's important, but how it impacts people is predicated on my intonations, my tonality. So if I'm going up and down in my intonations and I'm creating a little bit more polarity in my intonations, then it's a little bit more impactful. If I'm increasing the volume, if I'm lowering the volume, if I'm pausing, if I'm waiting. Pausing is a great thing as well because it perceives a lot of power in conversations because people will and and they always try to make sure there's filler in the gaps because they want to come across as in control. But just pause. Just pause and retain the power. Got a little bit off track there, but yeah, it's all about how do I want to be perceived in this social context? Do I want to be known as the funny guy? Do I want to be known as the stoic guy? Do I want to be known as more of an extrovert or an introvert? Or perhaps I want to be the guy who's more interested in sports and spends his time maybe networking with people and asking about their businesses and what they do and how can I better make connections there to be able to better benefit, myself in the future. So these are all kind of things that I rehearse, and I have a conscious intention when I go into a social interaction. Sometimes it is just for fun, and I am just leaning into that more humorous aspect of myself. And you all do this. You all do this. You all know maybe if you're going into a formal setting, maybe if you're interacting with older people, you're going to carry yourself in a different light. You're perhaps not going to take as many social risks, social banter, things like that. And it all starts with practicing that. Of course, you can. I think the best way to practice is of course in those situations. But many people are shy. Many people are introverted. Many people don't want to take those risks for fear of the perception of how they're going to be perceived. So, if this is you, and on occasion, and not so much anymore, but this has been me, is I just practice. The amount of times I'm walking around my flat and just talking to myself about what I'm going to say when I meet people, or if something comes up in social conversation, if it's a social political issue, or the World Cup's on as I'm speaking at the moment, and what my opinion would be on the World Cup being held in Qatar, and do I have a stance on that? So I'm not kind of thinking off the cuff, and this gives you a lot of power. It really does, because you can focus more on the delivery of what you're going to say as opposed to what you're going to say, and delivery is everything. It's everything. And I know that from being a trainer and teacher and a coach throughout my years. Delivery is everything. It's the volume of your voice. It's your positioning in the environment as well. It's your stance. Do you have an open stance? Is your posture open? Are you welcoming people in, or are you closed-minded? And these are very, very subtle things, and people pick up on them more often than not. We're social creatures in this way, and we're designed to sense fear in other people predicated on how they are portraying themselves non-verbally and intonationally. Intonality, tone. So, and I know we talked a little bit about the kind of social aspects there, but even when I'm learning things, that's probably what I use talking to myself for. I talk to myself more for learning, because I realized I read somewhere, I think it was from Brian Tracy in his book Accelerated Learning, that the quickest way to learn something is to teach it. That's the quickest way to learn it. So even this video is a process of me kind of going through what I feel is valuable in terms of talking to yourself in these kind of different contexts. And learning is the top of the pyramid for me. If you have a concept that you want to be considered proficient in, the best way to do it is teach it. Is to make it palatable for somebody who maybe doesn't have reference points for it. That's really the marker of somebody who knows the information very, very, very well. If you can explain very complex ideas to an individual who, let's say a child, you know your shit very well, and they can of course comprehend it. You know that very, very well. And it starts by vocalizing it. It's not enough to write it down on your keyboard, or write it down. It's more to be able to convey it vocally, and it's a very unique thing to be able to communicate at a higher level, and it starts with practicing. I've even noticed inadvertently when I'm making videos, if you go back to videos on Masculine Theory channel, let's say 2018, 2019, my communication wasn't even nearly as good as it is now. Not even nearly as good. So it all is a consequence of practicing. I practice speaking every single day. There isn't a moment where I'm trying to record something. Even this new Unfiltered channel, Just Joseph, is a attempt to get better at speaking, get better at sensing. Well, where is my tone at the moment? Where's the impact of what I'm conveying? How is it hitting somebody? Are they feeling it? Are they understanding? Do they get the insights I'm trying to convey? Maybe you need to come at things from a different angle. Maybe I need to use more examples, different suggestions. Maybe I need to change my pitch. Maybe I need to change my posture. So there's many different ways that you can approach communicating information to an individual, be it for the purposes of education, or be it for the purposes of socialization and making connections. And I really, really think speaking to yourself is so slept on. So fuck anybody who thinks it's weird to speak to yourself. I will continue to speak to myself every single day. And I will continue to be a better communicator than 99% of people because I practice it. It's all a practicing game, guys. So I just wanted to give you that free, again, nuanced self-improvement technique, and talk to yourself, guys. You'll be amazed at... I often talk to myself in the car. That's another place where I really, really practice. I don't listen to... I do listen to podcasts and audiobooks on occasion, and the odd bit of music. But sometimes I just turn that shit off and I just talk to myself. I talk about my dreams and my ambitions. How I wanna be felt when I say something. You know, like introducing myself. Hello, my name is Joseph. I'm an owner of a self-improvement business called Masculine Theory. You know, I'm practicing this kind of shit. So it's very, very powerful, man. It's underrated, and it's all a habit. It's all a habit. Like you have in the future, you won't even need to think about these things. That's why it's so powerful, man. Anyway, I just wanted to drop you this free bit of game. Keep talking to yourself, gents, and I'll bring you something else soon. Take care.